Think about this one. Hawaii was worried about the fish being contaminated from being in the ocean from Fukushima, and rightfully so. Now, corporations going to bring radiation from close to the reactors down the UK. Now, you know that 50 becquerels a kilogram will leave permanent lesions in your organs. Real bad, real bad. But look on the bright side of it. Rice might not be good, but it's better than mushrooms. Ho, ho, ho. If you take the rice, you'll take everything else. That's how they're playing the game out. Look, if you eat the rice from there, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, there's 1,800 diseases that are going to show up before the cancer. And that's Alzheimer's, dementia, heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary. If you allow that one in there, and they might just buy rice somewhere else, bring it down there and ship it to you guys so you can get it through the gate. This is what these people are like. You better wake up, you better fight back, you better stop that right now. You better stop them right now. You don't stop them right now, then your children will be eating radioactive food until they get their chemotherapy, which is radioactive food. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't try. Don't say I'm going to give up at this stage on you. But it looks like they just brought the fight to your door, and it looks like you're in it, whether you want it or not. Now get busy. You got decades and actually centuries of fighting. Let's see some of that good old-fashioned fighting from Britain. Do it for your children. Do it for your grandchildren. Do it for somebody. This is a Fukushima prefecture farmer who grows rice. And he's going to tell you, it's only 1 minute long, how they mix the soil. That's all you do. They put some more soil there and you mix it. You can't decontaminate it. But coming up right after that is Geraldine Thomas, and she's at Imperial College. Now, Now, for the next 7 minutes, she's going to tell you every law in the book. She's going to shove it down everybody's throat at the press club in Japan. And that means the press club is going to go out and teach the Japanese people this law. She's the same one who's setting the policies for you, and she's the same one who's setting the policies for the cancer victims. And here she is, she's going to lie for 7 minutes. If you want to change the game, you get her fired. You get her degree taken away. That's what you should be doing. That's what you're supposed to be doing. The police should go immediately after watching this video and arrest her, not harass me.
Believe it or not, I actually didn't know Robin until Fukushima happened, even though we work for the same institution. But Imperial College is a very big place, and he's on one site and I'm in another. And I didn't even know we had a Centre for Nuclear Engineering, because to a certain extent the health effects are somewhat divorced from the engineering side and safety issues that we normally think of. I became involved in working with some of my Japanese colleagues in Fukushima and trying to explain the health effects. With what happened in Fukushima, it was not the same sort of accident as we'd seen post-Chernobyl. We had not learnt, and it was clear from the reports that had come out from the WHO and from UNSCEAR, that we had not learnt as a scientific community how to communicate risk. And we said the one thing that we must never allow to happen again was the scientists to stand back and allow an awful lot of misinformation about the real effects of radiation following a nuclear accident to take hold. The two accidents, as I said, are very different. The amount of radioiodine that came out of Fukushima is considerably less than came out of Chernobyl. And the Japanese reacted very promptly and did what was necessary to reduce that dose still further. And the evidence that we have, because of the measures taken to reduce exposure to contaminated food, because of the evacuation procedures and the simple advice to not bring washing inside so you didn't bring the contamination back in with you, reduced the risk to about 1% of the dose that we had seen in the evacuees from the Pripyat region in Chernobyl. So that reduced the dose of radioiodine to the thyroid considerably compared with that of Chernobyl, thereby reducing the risk. And the recent reports that come from the WHO and from UNSCEAR have actually stated that there will be no discernible increase in thyroid cancer at the doses seen in the population, to help them understand. The doses are extremely low. You'll have more of a dose if you're how many smokers do we have in this room? If you're an average smoker, whatever an average smoker is, you take in about 13 millisieverts a year of radiation from the smoke you inhale because there is polonium-210 in cigarette smoke. We're talking at doses way lower than that. Yet we're worrying about them far more than we do about the dose from smoking.
Justin McCurry from The Guardian. Jerry, it's the second time today I've asked you questions, so apologies for that. I mean, we quite often read that there is no scientific consensus about the long-term effects or the health effects of long-term exposure to relatively low levels of radiation. And I'm confused as to whether that's the case or not. So if you could say a few words about that, that would be great. Thank you.
I think there actually is quite a lot of scientific consensus around the effects of low dose, low, long, protracted dose. You have to remember that actually we're all exposed to radiation, whether we like it or not. We can't avoid it. It's a bit like saying, you can't expose yourself to sunlight. Sunlight causes melanomas. There's an extremely good correlation between the amount of sun you're exposed to and the damage it does to your skin and your likelihood of getting melanoma. We're all exposed to radiation. We don't try and set a safe limit for sunlight, I note, but we do keep banging on about this safe limit that we need to set for radiation. Coming over on the plane this morning, I got a dose of 0.07 millisieverts, just getting from London this morning. We can't avoid radiation. We're here. We're a species that's lived with radiation all of our generations, not all of just our lives, but all of our generations. If radiation at low doses was that damaging, we would not be a successful species and we wouldn't all be here. Radiation has probably made our species what it is. And we don't seem to be able to accept that. Yet we accept radiation by going and sitting in spas and breathing in radon gas. We accept radiation when we go in to have a CT scan or an X-ray. We have this very strange relationship with the term radiation, almost as if we can't accept something that's come from an accident, but it is quite okay for us to be exposed to actually quite considerably larger doses in some parts of the country. I used to get told off for mentioning Cornwall when I was doing BBC interviews, and the Cornish tourist authorities were not very happy with me. But there's an awful lot more radiation in some parts of my country than areas of Fukushima now. And in fact, I think the British Embassy did a cricket match recently, a year ago, I suppose now, with Tohoku 11. And in actual fact, the readings on the dosimeters would have been higher if they'd been playing that match in Aberdeen. And Keith will tell you that. He's from the north of Scotland. So why do we have this sort of idea in our minds that we have to avoid exposure to radiation when we can't avoid it anyway? We're all exposed to it. The water I'm drinking has radiation in it. And that's a natural radiation that comes from the earth. So why do we have this problem with it? A small amount of radiation is not going to do us any harm. And I think there is a very good scientific consensus that says that. There's an awful lot of rubbish science that is produced as well. And don't think scientists will always tell you the truth. There is an awful lot of rubbish that gets put into the scientific literature, which is poorly controlled, poorly researched, no control groups, and so incorrect conclusions are drawn. But I think the evidence speaks for itself. We're all here. There was a small study that was set up using the same ultrasound equipment and the same skilled group of medics doing this, because a lot of the results come from the skill of the people operating the equipment and the technicality of the equipment themselves. And they actually found that the frequency of thyroid tumours and thyroid nodules was exactly the same. In fact, it was slightly lower in Fukushima prefecture than it was in the other three prefectures they looked at. But the caveat to that was only about 4,000 individuals who were studied. And that's not a big enough control group really to draw strong conclusions from.
I'm not sure I'd call them scientists.
No, I was trying not to use the word pseudoscientist, but I'm afraid there are a lot of pseudoscientists out there. Scientists are a mixed bag.
Just imagine, everything she's saying is a lie. Hugs for everybody. Dana loves you. Take care, folks.